Hello and welcome to the new vlog for September the 7th's puzzle. Um, Very nice puzzle today. Hopefully you should be able to see Mark's real-time solve there on the corner of the screen. There are a couple of laugh out loud moments for me today. 14 down, the clue to which was a little matter of boss going off with husband. Which is a great surface. I mean, it's, could be a headline in the Daily Mail or something. But turns out to be an anagram of boss going and H being an abbreviation for husband. And the little matter in question was actually the Higgs boson, the particle, which I thought was absolutely brilliant misdirection and really stunning clue. Couple of odd words you may have seen today and not been familiar with. Certainly I didn't know the word haymo at 5 across. I mean, it's a generous actually of the setter because he's left it as a simple anagram, but even so it's an anagram of some pretty odd looking letters, and if you're not expecting the word haymo, it took me a lot longer than it should have done, particularly as I put post as the start of 8 down, which really didn't help. What else? Corroboree, is that how you say the word at 21 across? Which is, I think, some sort of Australian Aboriginal gathering. And sometimes you find with these very difficult words that the setter, and perhaps the editor at the Times crossword as well, that they make a real effort to guide you to it through the wordplay. So, you've got gracious core, as in core blimey, men backed, so that's, I think, is it ordinary regiment, OR backed, and supported European, supported being bore, as in to bear the weight of, and European E. So it's a very bitty wordplay there that even if you had never heard this word before, and I've only heard it, right on the periphery of my my knowledge, you can still build it up from the wordplay. What else did I see that I thought was maybe worth a mention? There was a good clue, 13 across, horse beginning slowly canters and gallops. So the whole clue is making you think about horses. I mean, it's a fairly simple wordplay in the sense you're just taking the starting letters of slowly canters and gallops for skag. But horse there, a skag is not a horse as in a four-legged creature. I think it's referring to heroin. So skag is street slang for heroin, and that's what's happening with that clue, in case you were a bit confused about what was going on. But the thing I wanted to major on today, I don't want to build this up too much, but it's perhaps the best tip that you could ever have for solving one of these cryptic crosswords. And that is that what you should always be doing is trying to find the shortest possible synonym for phrases in the clue. And let's see how that might work with a couple of the clues here. Let's look at 11 down first. So we've got sentiments comparatively silly, almost nobody finds welcome. And our belief is that if you're able to break the clue up into possible phrases that might mean something. So if we look here, I mean, comparatively silly, those two words look like they go together. So if you're, and given that this is a crossword, and this comparatively silly is probably wordplay, we need to find a short word, or the shortest word we can think of, that might mean comparatively silly. I'm not sure, inana perhaps might be an option, but dafter certainly jumps out at me as a likely possibility. And you can see how as soon as you have the idea of dafter there, the whole of the rest of the clue becomes much more straightforward. Sentiment for goo, is another, it's a short synonym for a word in the clue. And good, after, and then no one without the ending, almost nobody. You can build up the wordplay relatively easily. Let's take a look at a couple of other examples here. So 18 across. In addition, restriction involving small digit. So again, if somebody was to ask you for a short word that means in addition, you might think and, that would be a very reasonable word, and certainly one that should be considered. But also to, T-O-O, that's also, probably just as good. I mean, also itself is a possibility, but that's a bit longer. And then we need a short word that could mean a restriction. Again, if you're looking for a, it can't be a very long word here when the whole clue answer is only 7 letters. So a restriction that's 3 or 4, a rain perhaps, R-E-I-N, but tie I think is it's a very natural synonym that you should be looking for. So if you can come up with either T-O-O for two or tie, if you can appreciate that involving small very likely means put an S in the middle of the wordplay, you are a long way to solving this clue. And you probably only need to analyse 1/2 of those 3 bits of wordplay correctly to have a very good chance of solving the answer. Finally, let's just take a look at 21 down. So here we've got Ruin Hill training with party. Now, so again, the idea that I want to sort of emphasize here is that the whole basis for solving these puzzles quickly is to be able to come up with very short synonyms for words appearing in the clue. So here, whenever I see the word hill in a crossword clue, I'm automatically thinking of the word tor, T-O-R, because it's so common a synonym for a hill. Sometimes you see Ben for sort of mountain with some sort of Scottish reference like Ben Nevis, but tor is much more common. So knowing that, and also seeing the word party there, if you're trying to think of a short word for a party, I think that there are only a few possibilities. The shortest synonym is a do, D-O. So if you go to a do, you go to a party. Political parties sometimes appear, so and abbreviations thereof. So Con for Conservative, Lab for Labour, Lib for Lib Dems, and what else might you see? I suppose rave, bash. But again, what I'm doing when I'm reading that clue is I'm thinking of the shortest synonyms and I'm trying to imprint them on the answer and see whether that gives me a clue as to what the overall word might be. So here, Ruin Hill training with party, I'm thinking tor for hill, I'm thinking party, do, torpedo. The training bit of it is something I put in afterwards. It's something I use to justify the answer. So, training PE, physical education. Now again, it's a reasonably common crossword abbreviation to come across, but it's not where I started with solving this clue. So that's the tip for today. Try and practice reading the clue in a slightly different way, I guess, and forcing yourself to think of short synonyms for phrases that are appearing in the clue, and see whether that helps you guess at answers more quickly. And I'm sure we'll come back to this topic in later episodes. But that's all for today. Thanks for watching.